Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me to have this speech on your interesting conference in Busan in Korea. I'm sorry not be able to participate in person. I would very much like to, but due to the pandemic situation we have on Earth, I have to be at home. But anyhow, today I will tell you a little bit about infrastructure development plan for Arctic container shipping. At least from our point of view, that means from the point of, from our view as developers of the Finnafjord port project. I'm a business development director and director for research and development projects at Epla Consulting Engineers. History tells us it is the best to predict and plan actions based on scientific work. We can see this nowadays in the COVID-19 pandemic, how important this is. And when it comes to prediction regarding Arctic shipping and infrastructure investment, we should do absolutely the same. It is of fundamental importance not only to monitor and to do best to understand changes happening in the Arctic, we have to undergo those changes. We have to stay in the area, feel these changes on our own skin. And therefore, only projects when you involve local people, local governance, local engineering and design offices, local people into your projects, that is the only way to succeed. The German Mosaic expedition, which was mainly ongoing last winter, as the Polarstern, the icebreaker Polarstern from Germany, was staying over winter time in the polar ice shield close to the North Pole itself, with scientists from many nations doing research work. We saw how much things are in movement. The ice there was thinner than planned. All over water to sea, cracks to sea. They had to move measurement equipment due to movement of the ice. They lost part of their equipment. And this is all happening now and happening very fast. This is all about energy flows. And to understand this situation and to have a good understanding of the future, we have to know what is happening in this area. And first we should know that warmer water will rise, is lighter than not warm water. And salinity in the sea water makes water more heavy than water without salt. And we have here in the North Atlantic, we have the 10,000 kilometer long Gulf Stream bringing energy up to the north. We are talking about a flow of 100 million cubic meters per second, and the speed is around 2 meters per second in average. This is changing everything. And the energy in this flow is equivalent to energy from 1 million nuclear power plants. And of course, when so big part of the ocean is in movement and goes up to the north, something has to go towards south. And that is the cold current, which goes from the north down to the south in the deeper sea, let's say. And that is happening between Iceland and Greenland and Iceland and Norway. This is, so to say, largest waterfall on Earth, something with 15 kilometers wide stream and 4 kilometer steep stream, and is of course pulling up then the hot and the warm sea up towards the north. This is, so to say, a machine. And in the summertime, we have higher air temperatures in the area, but we still have the warm sea. And from underneath, the ice is melting much, much faster than melting from the surface through the warm air. And then in the summertime, we have winds blowing from east to west, normally in the polar area, and we have the currents rotating the ice in the polar area. That means we have the oldest ice, old ice we call multi-year-old ice. We have that stored up in the northeast part of Greenland and northeast part of Canada. And when the polar ice cap and the glacier of Greenland will melt, of course, salinity of the water will change. It will fall. And the density of the seawater will also change. It will go down. And the Gulf Stream may, therefore, go into some kind of a slow motion or could even come to a stop. But those climate changes Earth now, really, we do measure this, may compensate that effect. So this will take this, let's say, warm period will maybe take longer time than normally. But if the Gulf current comes to a stop or goes to a slow movement, then we will have an ice age here up in the north. How deep the sea is under the ice in the polar area. You can see that on the map here. And you can see that towards northeast from Greenland, there is a rather narrow corridor connecting this central pole area with the North Atlantic area. And there, the big cold flow goes towards south. We will see ice-free times during summer, and those summer, they will be longer in future, maybe up to 6 months. Thin ice is now in the area during winter times, but the ice may be thinner in future. And of course, when all the ice is disappearing from this ocean north in the North Pole area, then we will see around 9 million square kilometer territory of open. And of course, then we have new shipping routes, and that is going to be a reality. We only don't know when this is going to happen. And of course, when this will happen, infrastructure will be needed, harbors will be built, airfields, roads, power plants. And at the same time, we will have access to new resources. Take a look at the Greenland. The Greenland is an upcoming mining country, maybe one of the largest on Earth in future. And Canada is also rich on ore. And we will also see new fishing grounds. And during the Mosaic exhibition, they even managed to catch cod during the winter time under the ice. And that was something they didn't expect. And of course, due to all those activities we will see in the next, this century in the Arctic, we will of course see the population growth there. We have now within the Arctic Circle around 7 million people living, but that will change. That means those people, they will need food, they will need fuel, and they have to be able to travel. So there is a lot of movement going to happen. Vessel owners and operators, they try normally to avoid situations like you can see here on this slide. Drifting ice, or ice blocks of the size of islands, and those you cannot see on the radar. High waves and rough sea, high wind speeds, cold climate and low temperatures, fog, and all this can make your voyage more difficult. It is maybe more difficult to navigate through ice-free area in the cold north during wintertime with all the fog and also ice from time to time in the area, instead of going through thin ice the whole route. It is quite tough. And investors, they like to avoid situations, as you can see here on this slide. Limited lowland for building up airstrips, permafrost all over, steep and rocky mountains. You have maybe a very deep fjord, but no lowland. Remote areas and darkness all the day, all the night. Mosquitoes, all over mosquitoes. Poor level of education and social problems within the population of those smaller villages all over the Arctic. And of course, lack of infrastructure. So it's hard to start. All projects in the Arctic are more expensive than in the south part of the Atlantic. I will now bring you to our project site in Finnafjord in the northeast of Iceland. As you can see from the red circle, it is on the south side of the 45-kilometer long peninsula there. And that peninsula is protecting this fjord from north winds and waves. You can also see that we have glaciers in Iceland, by the way, the largest glacier in Europe. And the whole sea all around Iceland is all the year round ice-free. This photo was taken from a plane in the year of 2014. It is ice-free site all the year around and almost no snow on the lowland. We have been operating wind measurement stations there and weather stations since many years, and we see speeds in the shore area, and normally very, very clear wind directions. And the temperature is rather mild, it's neither mild climate there. The average temperature over the year is higher than the average temperature of Manhattan in New York City. So does it look like? It is without trees. It is no permafrost there. It is flat and dry landmass, easy to move, easy to construct. And it is even an ideal site for a full-size landing strip. And that is something we have been thinking about to implement in the project. And that is, of course, absolutely unique to have at the same spot deep sea port and airport, especially then for cars. The whole landmass is gravel. The gravel is pure. It is of different size, easy to use for construction, and the quality of the gravel can be used for concrete mix. The shore side is without rock. It is gravel, and the fjord is deep, and the sea is calm. And as you can see, it's very flat and there is almost nobody there. Our view of of the development in future is the following. We will see multi-purpose vessels be more in the northern part of the Atlantic and along the Northern Sea route than we have seen in the past. Those multi-purpose vessels, they will bring containers, of course, partly with other goods. This may change after 2035 or 2040, and be a whole year basis, but at least during the summertime, long summertime, that means 6 months, we could operate vessels with high ice class. But the focus during the next years to come will be on the bulk and the break bulk, we believe. And there are a lot of interesting opportunities there. The mining material from Canada or Greenland, all the cars, trucks, trains, timber products, power units, building material, and wind power plants, all this will come with vessels, be moved with vessels. And not forget, we will see new cargo come into the mix. That means ammonia and liquid hydrogen. Ammonia is the future of the for larger, and this is going to start soon, maybe 2026 or earlier maybe. And liquid hydrogen is also an option. And you should know that in the Arctic, we have a lot of renewable energy, and but that is far away from the consumers. But you could produce e-fuels like ammonia there and bring it to the markets. Therefore, a part of the stranded renewable energy in the Arctic will be discovered and utilized. If you take a look at the land, Greenland, with all the ice, you could say that the ice there is the largest battery on Earth, full of energy. And those rivers, all in each and every fjord, there are rivers bringing that liquid water to the sea without generating electricity now. And the wind potential is huge. For instance, in Iceland, close to the Finnafjord project, on the hills there, we have better utility rates onshore than you can see offshore in front of the coastline of Germany and Holland. But of course, the investment cost behind each megawatt hour is lower on land than on sea. And not forget, we will also see much more fish be transported from this area on the demanding markets. Then we are talking about fish from the seas, new ocean will show up, and we will also see more fish farming on land as well in the sea. And we are maybe talking about 5 to 8 million tons plus per year from 10 years from now. So the break bulk is definitely going to be more than we see today. And of course, with container under deck, because container goods, they have to be protected from the cold. And we will also see ore be transported in the area on the to the demanding markets. Also special carriers like this one on the left side down. You can see a huge yellow steel construction. It's a fish farming cave taken with a special vessel from Costco to Norway some years ago. And then, of course, we will see more car carriers go along the Northern Sea route and the Central Sea route in future. So this is the Finnafjord south side as we see it. I'm not going to show you the north side, but this is the south side. It's a 5-kilometer long site. On the left, we have the search and rescue and service port. Then we have the mining material coming in smaller portions with smaller vessels from Greenland, maybe from Canada. And then that will be taken out in larger portions on special vessels, huge vessels, to the demanding markets. And then in the middle, we have the container terminal, and in combination with the breakbulk terminal. And behind that, we have factories doing all kind of assembly on those bigger units, maybe wind power plants or whatever. Then on the right, land, hydrogen and ammonia production on the far right side, and export terminal for liquid ammonia or liquid hydrogen. And this terminal is as well a fuel station for those vessels in future. So the Finnafjord is definitely on the beaten track. It's a hub port and a wayport for trans-Arctic container and breakbulk shipping. And this route, the central polar route, is of course very interesting when it comes to the Finnafjord, because that will shorten the way quite a lot. And this is going to be a bulk port, industrial site processing mineral products from Greenland, storing up temporarily material. And this is an Arctic research and rescue port. And of course, site for harnessing 100% renewable energy to produce alternative fuels for the vessels of the future. And of course, as well, proteins for our human being. The PPP model structure is like that for the project. We have on the left side the municipalities, 2 municipalities. They are cooperating on this project, and they are running the Finnafjord Port Authority, the blue. And on the side, we have the landowners, private farmers, owners of the land. They are living in other areas, and they are renting that land to the concessionaires through the Port Authority. And then we on board the Red Box as a Finnafjord Port Development Company, together with Bremen Ports, the 4th largest port in Europe, and some investors, we are preparing the project so concessions can be given. And now we are working on social impact study and framework plan and environmental impact assessment study. Basic design guidelines are in preparation for the concessionaires, depending on what kind of terminal they will operate. We do think that between 2022 and 2028, we will be able to tender out the hydrogen and green ammonia production terminal and land-based aquaculture related to that or connected to that territories, let's say. That is of interest because land-based fish farms need a lot of oxygen. And if you are producing hydrogen, you have a lot of oxygen as a byproduct. And then after 2028, we will see a multi-purpose terminal come in operation. And from 2030, the breakbulk terminal will be realized, and maybe earlier, but we say 2030. And we believe that the real container traffic will first start in the year of 2035, maybe even 2040. And after that, or similar to that, we will see the bulk terminal come up, because then Greenland will be a real mining country. A lot of things are going on in Greenland today in this direction. So here we can see those project partners we have on board, the 2 municipalities and the Bremen ports. Thank you so much. And don't hesitate to contact me if you have questions related to the project. Thank you.